Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Stand in line for your fix. A triple shot of Marcus in the mix, serving you yet another round of fish and grits. December 19th, 2017. But before I introduce the most intelligent fellas on earth, I just want to have a quick public service announcement out there. Gun violence is destroying America as we know it. For I want to say the past 15 years of my life, I've seen gun violence destroy friends, families, classmates, anything you can name. And at this point, it's like everybody wants to talk about it, but nobody actually has an issue or a way to resolve it. But the only thing you can do is try to stay positive, have a positive mind frame, and hopefully we can affect people on earth and everybody can just start to be a family like we truly are. We all are one family. And these are my brothers right here. And how y'all fellas doing today?
Oh, I'm doing all right, and I echo your sentiments. But the thing about it is, there's too many people out there that want to have that freedom to have weapons. That it's too many of them, and not enough people that speaking up against them. But hopefully, it resolves itself, one day in the future. But I mean, we need to go back to the days where you just had to, when you want to fight, you just had to fight with your hands and not no gun or nothing like that. But it's
Hey,
never going.
it is. That's what I'm saying. We can't change anything. All we can do is try to be better people, and hopefully that can translate to the next person.
Man, we just some evil son of a bitches, honestly. But if
Uh,
you just analyze people in general, we just so evil for no reason. It's
what
like
what what
literally
what kills
what
me though, man, is how material things can change a whole person's mindset. It's like they see something they'd rather take than actually go out there and earn it, and that's really what kills me the most, my man.
yeah, man, that's the crazy part that I want to take what you have, what you work to
Yeah.
get.
But
I
you
want
work,
to take it,
yep.
just want to take that away from you. I don't understand that either. But you know what?
But it's
That's
all
one thing that I would love to tip with somebody who has been through something like that, that has committed a crime like that, just to sit and psychoanalyze and talk to them and just like, what was going through your mind? A lot of these people were just struggling. I think a lot of people in this society that we live in, and it's times that we live in, we want to live above our means for one thing, but a lot of us are struggling, and a lot of people are going through things that they just can't cope with, and they're from just you have to work to eat, and sometimes you know you, it's a job you work and they're saying that you worth $8 an hour, and you're like, yo, I'm working all this time and this is barely any money to survive off of. So a lot of people out here struggling, and I feel bad for those who are struggling, and I just pray that you see lighter days coming forward going in 2018.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, new chapter in the world. Let's make 2018 great. That's all we can do.
Yes,
How's it going
sir.
for you, Watson?
I am doing well in spite of recent events and circumstances. Gun violence is definitely a prevailing issue, especially throughout urban communities, especially amongst minorities. First and foremost, education is key. I'm not against people owning firearms. I'm not against people defending themselves, but know the proper way to do it, know the proper channels to go through to do it. That solves a lot of problems. Secondly, as Griff said, you have people that feel that they have no other alternative. They feel that that's their only means of survival. Is about going out there and taking what somebody else has. I mean, anybody that listens to any kind of old school rap music gets that. It's talked about extensively, and it is what it is. But those that choose to do it because they're cowards, those that choose to do it because they feel that it makes them feel more important or that they
Superior.
matter more or that they're stronger. Um, those are the worst examples. Those are the worst reasons possible. It's human nature to want to do whatever it takes when you feel like you have no other alternative to survive, but it's quite another when you go out and do it just because you feel like you're the baddest thing on the block and you can do it just because you can. Those people I have no sympathy for. Those people I have no remorse for. Those people I would not be bothered one way or another by their demise. To put it very bluntly, not as blunt as I want to, but you get the message. At the end of the day, it's a terrible, terrible systematic problem that we've had to deal with for generations. It's something that I grew up with being a teenager in the 90s. For some folks that are younger, you look at movies like Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, and, looks like a good tale and stuff like that. But those folks in my age bracket actually lived it. I mean, it wasn't too long ago, and I think we're going to go back to it, where, you know, it was a legitimate point to put the black male on the endangered species list because a lot of us weren't living past 21. I hate to see that. I hate to see the continuation of that, and I hope that we rise above.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, speaking of rise, man, how did that movie check out for you guys, man? Hopefully it's rising a little bit better on the movie chart from the latest features that we had dropped. But how did y'all overall think of Star Wars when y'all went to go check it out this weekend?
It's fresh on my mind because I just got a viewing of it.
You see, I tried to watch it, bro. It wasn't happening for me.
Oh yeah, you had the San George version, the Telemundo version.
I tried to give it.
Yeah, the Waters del Estado.
I know that Darth Vader's being played by George Lopez in my movie.
Oh my god.
But yeah, man. All in all, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I follow it from the restructuring they did to the launch of the new canon, and just from the cartoons to the movies to the comic books they released to the books they released. So I'm up to date with everything. And I personally am coming off of a Force Awakens. This is supposed to take this movie, The Last Jedi, is supposed to be right after Force Awakens. And just from my prior thoughts of what Force Awakens was, basically a rehash of A New Hope, and I really didn't care for it. It was an entertaining movie. It was good to see Star Wars back on the screen. It had its, eye-popping moments. But all in all, the story was weak to me. So I'm just like, I'm hoping that they're going to build off that with Rian Johnson, known with Looper, making, those cinematic movies. So just going into this movie, I had a feeling that it was going to be hyped up. I heard it from a lot of critics that it was good. Didn't read too many spoilers. So I go into this movie, and I was just, I don't know for Wilson's take of this, but I was bored with the movie. For the simple fact is, it feels like a rehash of what the Empire Strikes Back. Same kind of plot points, same kind of, Luke is now Yoda, and then, Luke back in the day, it's now Rey, and then you have Vader, it's Kylo Ren, and then the Emperor is just like Snoke. It's too many similarities. Same with I don't know if you remember back when Empire Strikes, I want to believe, when the Emperor is talking to Luke and he's looking at the fleet being shot down. Same in this movie. I'm not gonna give it too much away, but it's just like there's a lot of plot points that I want to say that I wasn't too keen on. There's a lot of character directions that I wasn't a fan of, but I understand it for the sake of story. But all in all, it's an entertaining movie if you're going to just watch something just to see Star Wars on the big screen. It has its eye-popping moments. Some of the space battles are probably the best I've seen in the series, and there's a lightsaber battle that it's pretty cool. But all in all, it's a cool movie. But fanatic as I am, I expected more. But hey, Wilson might think different.
Just slightly different. For me, I also enjoyed the movie. I liked all of the little subplots and things that went on. And again, yes, good action, good sequences and stuff like that. I think that I probably went into it with a different mindset because the one thing that I saw off of the first one, The Force Awakens, they kind of had me, I guess, prepped for this one, is the fact that, to me, the first one was, I guess, for lack of a better term, a rehash. I think the theme that Lucas was going for with these next three is the fact that it's kind of generating a cycle type feel, like history repeating itself type thing, because you see so many similarities in a lot of the things going on with the plot, the way that the young lady comes through in her development, a lot of the different characters and stuff like that. They're so similar to what we saw in, I guess I have to be an old man now and say it the right way, in episodes, 4, 5, and 6.
But Mark, ask you a question right quick. See, what's funny about that going with these movies is Lucas has nothing to do with none of these films that's going on, because he was separated from the process when Kasdan took over and became like kind of the head honcho over the Star Wars movie. But it just I know you were raised when these movies were coming out, when the old movies were coming out, and I just know, as you as a fan of these characters, there are questionable moments of this movie, because we're going to talk about this like conversation now. There's questionable moments in this movie that I know kind of rubbed you kind of sideways a little bit.
And now we're not gonna get into it too heavy because I don't want to spoil it for a lot of
I don't
folks
want to
because the
spoil
movie is.
anything. Yeah,
I completely understand where you're going with it. Trust me, I do. I get it. I understand it, but I'm not as hard on it for two reasons. A, like you said, Lucas isn't like the direct input to it. So it kind of loses a little bit in the translation because it's not the way that we discuss with comic book movies. It's not direct source material per se. So there's going to be a little leeway. And that's why I kind of predispose myself to the fact that, okay, they're going to do a lot of parallels in these next three movies or whatever. And it's going to basically, you know, for lack of a better term, be a rehash for those that are paying attention. Secondly, for me, when it comes to the movie is, unfortunately, we as fans and diehard fans, and we have our vision of what we want to see, but that doesn't necessarily correlate to what big business or movie theaters think is going to be profitable or what they feel that the average paying customer would like to see. And we'll always suffer from that. And I think that that's part of the case with this movie. But like you said, it's an enjoyable movie. I mean, for anybody that wants to come in and, you know, the casual fan that looks at it. But, you know, we've discussed before when it came to the comic book genre movies. I mean, X-Men movies made a ton of them. Diehards didn't like them that much. But at the end of the day, we just have to recognize it for what it is. Now, it's unfortunate that something like a strong vehicle like a Star Wars that has such a cult following over literally generations of fans would kind of be swayed in that direction because I was so much more interested in being able to see them go to maybe how the books were after Return of the Jedi. I wanted to hear about, you know, some of the lineage down the road, you know, Luke Skywalker's children, Han and Leia's other children, you know, seeing Amara Jade on the screen, you know, to that extent. But again,
nice.
Everything that we just brought up in that sentence right now, most people, if they only watch the movies, have no clue what we're talking about
at all.
So from that standpoint, I can kind of understand why they're going with what they're going. And again, you know, just as well as I do, when it comes to big business and these movie companies, they don't really care about what the hardcore fan thinks because they're trying to maximize their consumer dollar. So I get it. I'm not going to be the old get off my lawn guy, but I do understand where you're coming from. I agree with you on a lot of it. But at the end of the day, I mean, they got what they wanted out of it. You extend the legacy, you give somebody a chance to kind of latch on for the new generation of fans, and they're going to make a ton of money. Yeah. Guaranteed.
And the space battles, I do not want to minimize this, are wonderful.
Oh my, yes.
I have ever seen in a Star Wars, in any film. I mean, it could be a toss-up between that and Star Trek. Star Trek has some pretty good ones in these new ones, but man, the space battles are incredible.
Yeah, the space battles in this one, to me, trump Star Trek because of the simple fact that Star Trek concentrates more on the individual characters. They don't really get into the battles per se because it's so much more of a dynamic between personalities, and the character involvement is a lot more intimate to me on this new Star Trek series, which I absolutely love, by the way. But Star Wars, yeah, you want to get out there and like you were a little kid back in the day when you were running through the yard with your friends, with your X-Wing fighters and your Millennium Falcons. Oh yes, you get your money's worth. You get your money's worth on that.
And then my man Griff, he finally got to finish the trilogy of the Planet of the Apes, man. I know you've been eager to get this review out there. It must have really impressed you, my man.
Man, it seemed like it took me forever to watch this.
It did take you forever.
It came out in July, and I'm just now watching this movie. But I finally got a chance to watch. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. The what you call it? The Fire Stick wasn't working, so that's the reason why I wasn't watching it. And two, it just I kept procrastinating, pushing it off. I finally sat down on Friday, checked it out. This film is amazing. I still, in my mind, do not understand how this film only made like $430 million worldwide. I think that's a travesty because if movies like The Minions and Jurassic World and Fast and the Furious can generate $1 billion easily, this film should have easily got that because this is the most entertaining movie if I would have seen it in the summer because it was the character depth. Just seeing Caesar, you know, becoming this older guy dealing with tragedy, you kind of got
you really the human element.
Yeah, man, it's amazing with these films what they did with you as a human. You're like, fuck these other humans, and you're more. I was just like, dang, Caesar, I hope you kill all these guys. And I'm like, oh well, I'm a human. I will be fighting these. It blows my mind sometimes that it's crazy how the humans just saw the apes as being a threat or being a problem when they weren't really the problem in the first place. But it's just amazing how everything, if you don't know something, it can lead you down a totally different path unless you knew the truth. But you know, it was a great movie. I think anybody who has not seen it, I know I'm super late, should check it out. It's a great film. Andy Serkis holds it down in Caesar. And I do like what's his name? Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson's been killing it.
He did it. Oh, he has, man. I feel like he's grown since the 90s as an actor. Like he really has.
He's a good dude.
And man, how do you feel about the overall trilogy now that you've seen all three? Like how can you make it out seeing the first two and then ending it with this one?
Probably one of the best trilogies I've seen since The Lord of the Rings.
You think it's with the Matrix, maybe?
Nah, only the first Matrix is good, and I think Wilson can agree with me on that one.
I'm sorry?
You think
you don't like the Matrix trilogy?
Me?
Yeah.
That's one of the best trilogies of all time ever made in movies.
See, you like the trilogy? I don't like 2 and 3.
You don't like the last?
Well, see, the part about it is this:
baby.
if you go through when it comes to the Matrix, you have to look at all of it in its entirety, and that includes the Animatrix. That's hugely important to the trilogy. So when you add in the first Matrix, the Animatrix, the second, and then the third, it makes even more sense, and it's even more applicable to so many things that go on currently. That's the thing about the Matrix. The Matrix has so many real life and real time applications as far as microcosms of life are concerned, as far as how we get lulled into this false sense of security. The theme of ignorance is bliss, the power of actually having choice and being able to break through that fourth wall. It has so many real time applications, and it's so timely and actually kind of ahead of itself for the time in which it actually came out. And then cinematically speaking, it introduced so much to the industry that wasn't used prior, which actually makes it stand out even more to me. That's the reason why I hold it in such high regard.
I'm gonna flip it like this: number 2 and number 3 were okay movies, but combined could have been a great movie, because what they end up doing is getting very Hollywood and taking that movie that should have been one movie and splitting it to 2. So there was a whole bunch of fluff that kind of
they didn't have a choice in that. They intended on making it one movie. They made them split it.
Yeah, that's what Warner. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that was my only problem with that. Combined, it could have been a great movie because it could have got a real bunch of like.
I will say number 2 is a turn off a little bit.
Yeah, but honestly, this trilogy is amazing. From what Bourne Identity to your Die Hards to your Star Wars, to Planet of the Apes. This trilogy,
is in your top 5.
Oh, how do I say this? I believe that this one. Thinking about this I've been thinking about this long and hard. I think this is the first reboot I've ever seen that has outdone the original, in my opinion. And
it's the best reboot ever.
Exactly, because I love the old movies, but the way in what they did with this with the technology and the motion capture, what they did with this franchise is incredible. And you know, now that Disney has it, there's no telling what they're going to try to do with it. They're probably going to keep it going, hopefully. And then also, it puts it on par with Star Trek. I don't know if anybody been seeing a new Star Trek. What they did with these new Star Trek movies have really reinvigorated that dead franchise. I'm be honest with you. So that trilogy's up there too.
And then y'all caught a couple shows this past week. Got the Vikings, Star, and Empire. Y'all can break it down however y'all want to go.
Oh man, what do you want to start with, Marcus? What do you want to start with since you ain't really been talking?
We can go a little bit into Empire.
Fresh, yes, fresh. Go forward.
Going through this past week, they had their mid-season finale. I don't know the lingo. I'm an old dude.
What is it? Mid-season?
Mid-season finale, winter, fall, pre-spring finale. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. They get so fancy with the stuff nowadays. I'm like, when y'all start doing half seasons,
winter hibernate.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the pre-Thanksgiving, post-Christmas finale, whatever you want to call it. But again, and this is the first time that I've ever been able to say it since the show has actually been on air. I have not been disappointed with a single episode of Empire this season. They have impressed me to no end. Yet another curveball. Cookie and Lucius getting back to doing things that Cookie and Lucius do, representing strong. The manner in which they go about taking care of their business, fighting against the Dubois and stuff like that, isn't that same typical, we so super extra over the top, stereotypical type thing. They were cold, they were calculating, they were smart. I mean, it was really enjoyable to see it all unfold. It was really enjoyable to see the character development between all of the individual family members and some of the subplots that they're going through. Left a nice little cliffhanger there at the end. So it's going to be eagerly anticipated for me in the spring to see how they kick it off and bring it back in and keep that momentum going.
It's our podcast. We're just gonna talk about this episode. I think it's incredible just what they do with just Cookie just once again getting the shine, the upper hand. And it's just amazing to see what they did with her character arc this whole season. But I also like what they did with Lucius. Man, I've never been so interested in the way that they end the season, the way they ended it with him learning about that his son is the one that set the explosion that made him lose. It's going to be interesting to see what side does the real Lucius come back, or is Dwight still there? And I know I'm pretty sure the majority of people that listen to this have seen Empire. If you haven't, you need to be watching it. But looking at what we're going to get next season or the second half of this season, it looks like a horror film. What is going on here?
It looks like Misery. It looks exactly like Misery, and that's the part that intrigues me so much because I'm like, okay, let's see how they pull this off.
I'm just like, what's going on here?
I'm interested in seeing how they pull that off. But yeah, it's going to set up for a definite exciting season when it comes back in the spring. I love the fact that they've gone through, and I'm hoping that their mindset as a creative team is the fact that we've got these characters established. Now let's keep working on this character development, because I've never been more interested in the Lyons family as a group collectively and as individuals as I have been this season. Everybody has a very compelling story arc, their own little subplots and things that they go through in this season, and it makes you really engage into what's going on with the family. They've had a little bit of everything go on. Custody battles, strikes at the job, personal relationships ending, new relationships beginning, betrayal, backstab. I mean, they had everything and anything that you could want out of a drama series happen in this short half season. So I'm like, okay, now that I know that you guys can do it, my expectations for you guys are sky high coming back in the spring. I'm looking for them to shoot the moon coming back into it.
From looking at what I've seen from the preview, if the second half of this season pisses me off, I'm going to look at Disney and I'm going to say, you know what? I hope they do something with shortening this season, because I see the elements in the new season that may piss me off. I mean, in the second part that may kind of piss me off, and it looked like they added it in there to kind of stretch out the season. But if they can eliminate some of that, and they would have used what's her name, Demi Moore's character, kind of more relevant throughout the story, where I can feel that connection to her and Lucius, or her and Dwight, or whatever you want to call them, I would have been more sold on the crazy side of her popping out, honestly. Because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really buy their chemistry, or him really falling for her, or her really falling for him. That guy, I thought that really was a side story that they were just going to kick off. But now it's coming back into play. I said, damn, I wish they would have fleshed that out more. But it's going to be interesting, like you said.
I agree. And I think that they were in that situation where, they didn't want to delegate what probably would have ended up being one or two fluff filler episodes to bring that out more, because we were so engaged on the Dubois versus Lyons thing. And I think that they were smart in just riding that wave and keeping that heat. But having that Demi Moore angle tucked away to bring back for the second half of the season, depending on how they do it, could be a stroke of genius for them.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and let's talk about Star, man. If you watch an Empire and then you backdoor and you want to watch Star, man, Star is killing it on the musical front, man. The music they drop on this show is so fucking good. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what nobody says, because the song that they performed was amazing. The song that I can't remember her name. I don't want to sound terrible. The darker chick, what's her name?
I can't remember her name to save my life.
I can't remember.
She pissed me off this last episode, but I can't remember her name.
We're gonna talk about it. So the thing that pissed me off the most is I just did not buy her falling for Luke James. I'm just like, they forced that kind of out of anywhere, because I didn't really feel like she was picking up on him. I know they wanted us to, I guess, buy into that. But man, I feel bad for my boy Derek. Man, he was just
But you know
Ooh.
what? I don't though, because when it all went down, she went and she slipped again, even though she was trying not to, quote unquote. And my man rolled up in there and saw them.
He's like,
He
you gotta find
had
somewhere
the
to stay.
absolute most gangster clapback of all time. He didn't trip. He didn't cry. He didn't yell. He just told her like a straight G, "Hey, you're gonna have to find
Gotta
somewhere
find
else to
somewhere to
sleep
stay.
tonight." All right. And just rolled out. I was like,
Dog.
yes,
Full set.
Girl, you gotta,
yes.
and then she gonna say, Derek can stop. Girl,
Nah,
he in the
fam.
wheelchair. You can catch him. You
No,
can
wasn't
catch
no
him.
catching that. She didn't want to catch them hands. Legs might not work, but them hands are still
Oh, them
activated.
legs. Hey, you saw that foot moving. That no leg.
Yeah, and that was the part that was so ironic. He was so excited about seeing her perform that his leg actually moved in the chair.
I was like, damn, man. Damn.
He
And
gonna be
then,
mad when he walking in them streets and them girls trying to choose him.
oh yeah, he gonna get caught, man. Hey, I have to give a shout out to Quincy. Not well, anything Quincy in real life? Yeah, Quincy. That's
Who?
the actor.
Ain't that Al B. Sure, son?
No, yeah, that's Al B. Shore, son, Diddy son, and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, he's did a
Yeah,
great job
well,
this
Diddy,
season.
son.
He's done a great job this
And a
season.
lot of people I found out didn't even know that that was Al B. Sure's son playing the role. He's doing an excellent job. I mean, like the storyline, like Star comes through, and there's two things that I always like about Star.
Mhm.
Number one, they'll go through, they'll give you really strong, like intense vibes as far as like the character interaction, because everybody always backstabbing somebody, betraying somebody, running game on somebody. So that part always keeps it a little hot. And then, like you said, there's always great music on that show.
Very much.
Every single episode.
Oh,
Always great music on there.
I forgot to talk about it. The fire. Oh shit! I thought that.
But see, that's what I was getting to. That's why I was like, there's so many curveballs and stuff that they threw in this episode. You had the curveball with her. You had the curveball with Star catching feelings for Luke James and then try to play it off. But then when she wanted to tell him about it, she saw him and her, him and the old girl kissing again and was like, you know what, forget about it. Then you go through and you got Queen Latifah's son, daughter, getting caught up with old boy that she
what was her name?
got up with in jail.
Dang,
Cotton.
Cotton, yeah. Cotton getting cut up with that dude in jail. And then what's crazy about it is I thought he had killed her. She drowned in the tub and it got burnt down. But no, it's what's her name? It's Simone's girlfriend that was at the house.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I forgot about her. Another
And that's the thing. Now, see, my thing is there's a slight chance that both of them might have got caught up and got killed in the whole thing, but it'll be interesting to see how they flesh this out and make it all work.
I wish she would have screamed when she was like, "Where's Cotton?" or something. She just kind of was so calm.
Okay.
Somebody's dead. I was like, "Oh, Queen Latifah, give me something more."
Well, first she was, in the hospital and whatever, and she was IV'd up. And then second, she had a little boo thing sitting by her side, and I'm sure that had her
Calm
all
down.
in the fields feeling, she was feeling all womanly because he had, put it down on the regular on her. So,
I got a man looking over me.
okay. Because boo, what's wrong? What happened? Did somebody die? Oh, okay, Latifah. Yeah, he might have slipped you a little something before the doctor came in now. Okay. He might have gave it to you. He might have gave you a little bit of that tank before the doctor came in. That's why you're so calm. Never mind.
Oh yeah, then we got Vikings. Vikings awesome. What'd you say, DeMarcus?
I said, what went down on Vikings?
Oh, on Vikings, basically just a whole bunch of plot points that were amazing, and one of them would have to be what's his name? Floki? Not Floki. Oh God, what is his name? Ivar. Once that he's a clueless character, he pisses me off. I'll be wanting to smack the shit out of him, and then by the end of it, genius. This guy's a fucking genius. He had me fooled the whole time, and that's the thing about Vikings. I get emotionally invested in these characters. So when he does things, it's kind of shady and sly, like how he was just kind of acting all like a dumbass and like, oh, we're running out. When his brother was telling him they were running out of food, and he was just like acting like laughing it off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, your people about to starve. And just to show that he knew that the Saxons will probably think that, man, it's incredible. The show is incredible, and people need to watch the show.
No doubt.
Indeed.
No doubt, 100%. And man, what my man Kevin Hart, he pissed you off over this week, man.
Oh man.
It seemed like he pissed both of you off.
Man, it's not what Kevin Hart. It's like what it I like the fact that he owned that he cheated. He let his wife know that he cheated. Da da da. He made these mistakes, but he makes it seem like his name. Because Charlamagne brought up a point on his interview, and the thing was, if you think about it, when he came up on his interview and Kevin Hart, I was like, oh, Kevin Hart's on Breakfast Club or whatnot. I was like, oh shit, I forgot Kevin Hart cheated this year. And Charlamagne brought that up, and I'm glad he brought this up when he was saying that Kevin, you cheated in a good year because there's so much other shit going on that you forgot.
People forgot.
You forgot about shit because you had the fucking sex scandal shit, the NFL shit still going on, the whole Trump being whatever Trump does, and all these other things going on that you forgot about Kevin Hart cheating. So when he made it seem like, no, the reason why people forgot about it is because I got in front of it and how because I owned up to it, I was like, did he get naive and forget that like Charlamagne has a point? Like, don't act like that's what got him in trouble the first time. Once again, Kevin just feels like he's untouchable. He's gotten that to that.
So let me get this straight, Kevin. You are claiming that the reason that people forgot about it is because you happen to be proactive and was honest about your lie.
That's like what? Okay, that makes no sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Forgive us, Kevin. Forgive us.
Yeah, it really pissed me off. It really pissed me off. And then another thing that pissed me off with him, that the story point that he want to bring up is about Michael Blackson. I don't know the relationship. He said that they were friends or whatnot. And
that weird ass beef.
But this is the thing that blows. This is what blows my mind. You're my boy. Mark is my boy. The thing is, if y'all are comedians and your job is to make jokes about shit, and just because you made a joke about me cheating and some shit like that, why would I feel some type of way?
He getting butthurt about the shit. He
literally said this dude was getting
like boys right now, and whenever anything comes up with us, with our teams, or something that we done predicted and went wrong with, we roast the shit out of each other. No filter, no sympathy whatsoever. It is what it is. When it comes to a Michael Blackson, when it comes to a Mike Epps, when it comes to a Cat Williams, a Kevin Hart, stuff like that, that's the nature of the beast. That's part of your brand. I would have been disappointed if Michael Blackson didn't call him out or come at him, or some other comedian didn't. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to sit and tell me that you're entitled enough just because you Kevin Hart that nobody is supposed to
talk about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As much as you make fun of stuff, you have a reality comedy show on BET, Real Husbands of Hollywood, that literally shoots shots at every reality show and concept there is, with no filter and no remorse.
You have a point.
Don't be mad when somebody returns fire. Don't be mad when somebody returns fire.
And you think about that, that's kind of how his whole stick is. You know, when he performs, he only talks about himself. Nobody else can talk about him, or he doesn't like to talk about other people, so they can't use it against him in their comedy skit or something like that. And it makes sense. And I want to see how he's going to bounce back from this.
Well, I mean, he's gonna do all right because you got Jumanji coming out. He's about to get another money grab. He'll be fine.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be fine. I'm talking about with the culture, should I say?
Well, the thing about it is, when it comes to the culture and stuff like that, we're not gonna sit here and act like we're not, aware of the fact that, it's such an ADHD type society in the sense that he has a point where, yeah, if you don't dwell on it too long, people forget about it and move on to the next hot topic, the next new drama and stuff like that. But for those that pay attention, I mean, you go through, and after your first marriage that you messed up, you came threw it into your act and into your brand as though you had somehow been reawakened and reinvigorated, and now you're committed to your new wife, and you knew your mistakes from the past and stuff like that. And I'm not putting words in his mouth, because you can watch his stand-ups and he talks about this shit. And you went back and you did the same thing again. So for me and those that think like me, bruh, at this point, I really don't care how you try to spin it or say it. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a goddamn duck. Period.
And you know what? That also gets to one other thing that I like to talk about. DeMarcus, you got something to say about this?
Oh no, he's a fucking clown at this point, bro.
What I want to say,
I've been done with Kevin Hart. Like, I
just think it's crazy how we live in society, and it made me think about this listening to this interview, that we that cheating is a norm. It's a normality. it's so normal, like to cheat, like you scuff at it, like, oh, you ain't never been cheated on, like you know, it's crazy how we make it seem like it's so normal, it's okay to cheat because, oh, my wife, because I love you, I wasn't thinking about this other person, or you know, I was kind of into another person, but this was nothing about you. It's like, well, you gotta stop making the mistake. I mean, not the mistakes, the excuses or whatnot. I'm not trying to say that everybody's perfect, but if you just don't want to, just think about the other person. If you're in a relationship, think about the other person. Don't if you want to step and tiptoe outside of your relationship, that's fine. Do it outside. I mean, do it away from the like break up with that person and do your own thing. Don't put that person feeling at ease because it's not nice. Because it's not nice to know that you got cheated on, and then you have to try to salvage that for whatever reason. Whether you know you're used to this person and y'all really have a good relationship, besides the cheating thing, or y'all have a family together, or you know just the sake of you know you're just so used to this person. Whatever your excuse is, but it's like just think about the other person before you do stuff like that. It's not normal. It's not cool.
And to build on that point, as I'm pretty sure the only married person on this panel.
You are the only married person.
I will say this. He can miss me with that shit. Cause cheating on a girlfriend and cheating on a wife, two completely different levels. Two completely different levels. If you are going to have the nuts and the gall to commit to that covenant before God and man to make somebody to become their husband, the rules and shit change. I don't give a damn what the standards about Hollywood is or what you think is socially acceptable from social media, this, that, and the other. That has nothing to do with the concept and the institution of marriage. As somebody who is happily married and takes it extremely seriously, I have zero remorse for guys that fall back and, oh, well, it was the pressure, it was this, it was that. Well, then do your research and know what you're getting into before you get married. Make sure that you're marrying for the right reasons. Don't marry for appearances because you feel that it's what you're supposed to do at this point in your life. Marry somebody because you cannot be without them and that they help you be the best person that you can be. If that's the case, you will never, ever find a reason to step out on them or cheat on them because that's your best friend. That's your other half. That's your main source of communication and emotion. It just doesn't work like that. That's why I never buy it when people go through and, oh, well, I cheated. I was just under so much pressure. And I have so much. I've gone through all kinds of shit, had all kinds of pressure, stress, and everything else. And the furthest thing from my mind was cheating or stepping away from my wife. It makes me run to my wife. Huge difference.
You know what?
Huge.
I respect that, man. That was the realest shit ever.
Yeah. Oh,
damn, that was real. That was so real.
Uncle Wilson gonna let us know something, you know.
Hey, I mean, I tell people all the time, man. I mean, it's a lost and dying art, and I hate the misrepresentation. The same way that we've gone on before and talked about how disparaging it is to see how black women and women of color in general are portrayed in like reality shows and stuff like that, and how it gives them a bad mark as far as how they're viewed by people on the outside looking in. To see all of these adulterers get passes, whether it be athletes, celebrities, whatever, that continuously step out and cheat on their women, or women that cheat on their men. I mean, it's not necessarily gender specific, but I'm speaking selfishly because I am a married black man. When it comes to black men that go out and do this shit on a regular and then expect to just wipe it away with a smile, or I'm sorry, and a little bit of remorse, and everything is supposed to be a-okay, I have a problem with that. I have a huge problem with that because you're misrepresenting the ideal and the intent of what a solid relationship is supposed to be at its apex, and that's marriage for those who believe in that. You're not going to sit and trivialize something that's important to a lot of people, including myself, like taking that step to become a husband. It's a job. Just the same way that him being a comedian and promoting his brand is a job. You have to work at any relationship that you want to maintain and have function at its highest capacity. It's not a thing of, oh, well, you know, you with me, you bae, you know, I'm your bae, and this, that, and the other, and then everything's supposed to take care of itself. Fuck no. You have to work at that shit diligently every single day. It's the hardest job in the world. That's why so few people are actually good at it.
That was that was some real shit.
Dropping those facts, bro. And man, Griffin, tell me about this newfound respect you got for my man LeVar.
Oh man, once again, Breakfast Club coming in the clutch. You know, Breakfast Club has their coon moments, whatnot, but they do have these moments of educating people what they should do more of. But you know, it is an entertaining show, so they have to put, you know, whoever they have to put on there, which is fine. And then one person they end up putting on there that end up being I want to say a year ago, I would have laughed my ass off just knowing this person was on this show. But now knowing, not even a year ago, just say 6 months ago,
I was
just
about
know.
to say a whole year.
Yeah, I'm about to say 6 months ago, just knowing if this guy was on the show, I would laugh at it. But just listening to the I want to say the information that he was dropping, kind of illuminating a lot of situations that we were in the dark about, talking about with his son and his son stealing, or him also talking about what he's dealing with his sons going to play overseas, and also talking about LaMelo and him having his hardships with the Lakers. Him really speaking on all those things has a person thinking this man is a great dad, and the media could it it makes us believe, if you want to be honest about it, because think about it, we never really, the media always shows us in his worst moments or him saying the craziest stuff. I know he's doing it, to be funny, or this may be just his natural self, but nothing that he has said or something that should be judged on why we think that he's a horrible person or a horrible father. That's just somebody just doing whatever they're doing and they're talking or whatever his character is. And just listening to his interview, I have a new respect for this guy. He got all his sons are paid. I don't care what you have to say. I know that personally in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, you sending your 16-year-old boy to play overseas. That's got to be scared. He's in this whole nother country and all this other thing. But it's like, I'm sure that he's a good enough father that he has systems in place and security in place and people in place to watch after his kids. And I'm pretty sure, like he said, that he's going to be over there too. So I know this guy right here is for his kids and all about his kids. He's not just riding the coattail of your kids. Or if he is riding the coattail of your kids, guess what? That's your child. You can do whatever you want to with your child as long as you're not mistreating them. You can do that. If your child's a baller, you know what? Ride that baller wave. Guess what? You birthed that child. You took care of that child, and I'm starting to see that daily. When I when I was helping raise Xavier and things like that, it's like you see that you invest so much in his child. So if they have a level of success, why shouldn't you partake in it? Why should you not? And I think that he's doing a great job, and I think he's an awesome father. I take back what I said about it. He has a very buffoonish ways at times, but then again, at the end of the day, that's just him just being himself. And I'm pretty sure he's like that behind closed doors. So I can't judge him no more.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Man, tell me about all this new music that you seen come out. You got Young Jeezy, Nerd, Slim Thug.
Personally, the Nerd album can be forgot about. I mean, you really don't have to listen to the album. The only reason why I want to illuminate that,
Stop it.
It's not okay. Let me be honest with you.
Pharrell been making shoes better than he been making tracks now.
Yes, his Despicable Me soundtrack is better than his album. Now, let me be honest with you. He has a few jams on this album, and one of his jams is this Lemon song. I caught wind of it with the Beats commercial. It's a phenomenal song. Got Rihanna on it. I think it could be a good. I don't want to say it's a club hit, but kind of like a party scene type of song. It's a good bass line, catchy wordplay, and he has three songs I want to talk about. There's one song that he has with Kendrick Lamar I think it's just Kendrick Lamar, I want to say. Song is, I forgot the name of it, but it's not the greatest song ever. But the song that he has, Kite, with Kendrick Lamar and MIA, Kendrick showed me once again, I doubt Kendrick when he comes out on something and he lays like a boo-boo verse like he did on Jeezy album, but he comes strong once again with something good, and he killed the verse that he on. And another surprise track is his third track. He has a song with Andre 3000, and I don't think nobody really knew that. And I didn't even know. I thought Andre said he was done rapping, so it was surprised to see him on there. And he, gave us a snippet, and I was just like, "Damn, Andre, can you come back and rap some more?"
I'm telling you.
He give you easy, keep doing your shoes and stuff.
Well, he dropped like a good 16 bar and rolled off, and I was just like, "Damn, man, where you at? Like, keep going."
But you know what? I think that might just be his wheelhouse now for everything that he has going on, all this other side stuff that he does and stuff like that. Maybe, his maximum effectiveness is in spot duty.
I like that. And then with the Slim Thug album, the G's album, and the Jeezy album, G-Eazy and Jeezy album, since he's not Young Jeezy anymore for whatever reason.
He tight clothes Jeezy now.
You saw him with them tight ass fucking.
He's medium Jeezy. He looked like he was the actual marauder, like assassin on Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, he looks like one. He looked like a little Ninja Turtle. He kind of, got a little buffed on. But the thing about these albums are the production phenomenal. The production is on point. Each one of the artists rides, their ride the song, ride the beat, really nice. But they're not really saying anything, in my opinion. The worst thing about Slim Thug's album is Slim Thug because he says absolutely nothing, and it took me back, and I'm just like, damn, has Slim Thug always been like this, or maybe I'm just elevated on what I listen to? Which say, Mark,
he always been like that, bro.
I had to go back and I was like, Slim always been like this, and I've been bullshitting myself, acting like Slim Thug always.
The only reason that group was relevant was because of Killer Calion. He was.
You have a point.
Bars. No,
you have a point. Boy,
have you heard that Having Things Too? Oh yeah. My God, that terrible.
This is what I'm gonna tell you, DeMarcus. If Killer Calion, my critique of him is his production. If Killer Calion jumped on all of these Slim Thug beats, I swear this would probably be the best album of the year. I kid you not.
No, I agree 100% with you.
Slim Thug's production on this album was amazing. I mean, top-notch shit. Some shit nothing really. He had a few Houston sounding tracks, but nothing. It was out of the norm. It's not nothing that I've seen Slim Thug rap on, so it was impressive. I mean, it was quite nice to hear. And then with G-Eazy, not my favorite artist. He had a few tracks on there that were pretty cool, but it's not my type of. I want to say he doesn't really rap about nothing. He has some stuff that's kind of cool, but nothing that kind of stands out. And with Jeezy album, man, it's just like, Jeezy, stop, man. You're not like, just stop rapping. You don't got it no more. He has it no more. He needs to give it away to whoever else wants to rap about. Give it to Gibbs. Let Gibbs just keep rapping, because Gibbs, it's crazy. They talk about literally the same fucking thing, and Gibbs does it so much better than Jeezy. Right. And he used to be under him. That's what's the crazy thing. It's like the Padawan outdid the master.
Yeah, Jeezy could have been enough, bro.
Yeah, he could have hung it up. Oh, and M album, don't have to even be long on it. M album was not at all.
At all? Damn.
I don't know if either one of y'all listened to it, but from who
unfortunately I did.
You did? Did you like it?
Unfortunately, I did.
Oh.
Unfortunately? Like, what's the big issue with it, though?
I'm gonna be honest with you. My problem with M is I've never been a huge Eminem fan, because his range of emotion on his CD is from, he has angry tracks, and he has the silly tracks, and then he got his pop tracks, and he got his real rap raw, I want to say deep tracks. But with this album, it's just like I didn't know what he was going for. I understand what he was talking about, his message about white privilege and things like that. But it's like I couldn't connect to any song. Like with music, in my opinion, for me to like it, I have to connect with it. I'm not talking about for me to, I tap my foot or it makes me want to dance around. I'm talking about connect as in I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I'm getting what you're trying to give me right now. And I couldn't get nothing that he was trying to give me, from the features that he had to the lyrics that he was trying to drop. He has this one song, can't remember the name. It's the second track where he's trying to rap like, I want to say, I guess he's trying to rap like the new age people. It's okay. And that's the only track I can kind of recommend, honestly.
Damn. That's a big loss for him. I mean, I thought it would have been a little bit better than that, but
it's crazy. The year has been phenomenal for albums, and December is kind of just like it's crazy. December, a bunch of flops.
Boys tired now. They ready for the new season.
Yeah, they ready for the new season. They ready for the new season.
Pretty much.
And man, had Omarosa get that jazz kick out.
Who?
Oh Lord, she needs a who?
She trying to come back to the black delegation. What is the
bro? I'm gonna criticize her. Can I gotta criticize her? The nerve of her to get on TV and say that there's nobody black in the White House now to represent us. What?
There was nobody black. Once Michelle and Obama left, there was nobody black.
Omarosa, when did you ever represent us at all? And if you did, why are you following this buffoon to the office? That's the crazy part. If you have any integrity, if you believe anything that you said, that you don't feel like there's no representation in the White House for us, you are crazy to believe that you thought that you ever stood for us. Not once have Omarosa ever even alluded or gave off the illusion or ever just even falsely said anything that related to that she cares anything about black people. I don't care what anybody has to say. I've seen enough interviews. I've heard her speak enough times. I've read enough articles. Omarosa is the worst thing, and I think she's going back to what, selling cars or some shit like that. I wish her good luck. No, I think that's what she went back to. I think that's what they reported.
She had a Nissan.
I mean, it's
She
pitiful.
couldn't sell me no damn car. Even if that is what she went back to, she couldn't sell me no ride. I ain't trying to hear that.
I mean, to use
I mean, at
that.
the end of the day, congratulations. You had your 15 minutes of fame. It's all good. I hope you saved up your money. Good luck to you in the future. But don't come out here like you were crusading for our cause or actually trying to go through and raise up some issues in the White House or put something out there, because we ain't heard nothing about it. So
At all.
it is what it is. You're fired, to quote your homeboy.
You're fired.
The Vince McMahon.
Nah, she get the Donald Trump. That's what Donald Trump used to
Get
do.
that apprentice.
On that apprentice,
She get
you're
that
fired.
apprentice. You fired.
Oh.
Holla.
See?
Peace.
Is there any movies that's coming out that y'all gonna be looking to check out?
Right, dropping this Friday. I'll be checking that out. Jumanji.
Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's
Right on Netflix. Jumanji is coming out tomorrow. There's another doggone movie, Griff. And I can't remember. It comes out Friday, like in the movie theaters. It's another Downsizing is coming out, which looks like an interesting concept, where people are actually getting shrunk and moved into smaller areas to like maximize their dollar, like the dollar amount and stuff like that. Translate, if you shrink yourself, like $100 is like $10,000, and all the little shenanigans that go with that. And I believe Father Figures with Cat Williams and Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn and all that. I think that comes out Friday as well.
Friday. Yeah, I'm going.
Looks like another, one of those, slapstick, lighthearted holiday joints. Get in where you fit in type things. Got Ving Rhames in it as well. I believe makes an appearance. I haven't seen him in a movie in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Something lighthearted to look at during the holiday weekend. It's not, nobody's expecting Oscars out of it or anything like that, but a good laugh. I mean,
it's so funny you said Vince Rhames and then you said Holiday. I'm thinking of Holiday Heart when he played.
Hey.
Oh man. But
he played the hell out of that part too.
Let me I also need to say, we need to talk about this right quick. Sicario. If you have not seen the first movie, please go do yourself a favor. Go check out Sicario. One of the most underrated dramas. I want to say, what is it? A drama? I think it's like it's a drama, action, all that good stuff. Amazing. The trailer for the second one that I did not know they were making dropped today. Woo! The fact is, when you do a sequel to, when you see Sicario and the way it ends, you're like, okay, that was that was an amazing movie. That was a great one-off movie. The fact they're doing a sequel and the sequel looks like it's the same tone as the first one.
Exactly.
I'm floored. The fact they kept Josh Brolin, they kept that one guy that was cold with an AR. He had the glasses on. They said he had crabs. They got him on there, and then Benice is on there. Oh my God, Benice del Toro, one of the most underrated actors who did nothing in Star Wars. He did absolutely nothing in Star Wars. Why was he in there?
It's a good check.
But yeah, he looks like it's and what I love about this trailer is when you watch the first movie, you see Benice's character, and you said, "Damn, this dude is a cold ass dude." And what if he was not under control? Like, you get to finally see what he does or how great he does it, man. And that trailer shows that they kind of allude that they letting him loose. Shit, I'm in for a treat. I can't wait. It drops out in June, I want to say.
Yeah.
There we go, man. That's all the entertainment for the culture right there. Y'all got to go check all that out. Catch all the new shows that's been going down. And all these shows they've been reviewing, man. Y'all give them some good shit for the people.
Oh, wait. One last one for all my throwback people that need something to watch that, may not have caught their eye on the first go around and stuff like that. Because I've actually been guilty of going through and getting a refresher. It's a series that's on now. It's on AMC. Has a bit of that old school vibe. It's like a historical joint, loosely translated. But Turn on AMC is on
Oh,
Netflix.
that's
It's like 4 season deep. Basically talks about the beginning of the spy game in colonial America around the time of the American Revolution. The introduction of spies, double agents, and stuff like that. Really strong plot line. If you're bored, you ain't got nothing to watch, trying to find something to look at on Netflix, give it a try.
There it is. Even more, little extra cut, little bonus action right there.
Little something.
Let's talk about little something in the NBA though, partner.
Oh, here we go. Load it up.
Are we talking about them Rockets?
The Rockets.
Rockets. 78-4. 78-4, fam. I can see it. I can see it.
I can see it. I can see it. Look at another game.
Y'all need y'all asses whooped.
Man, I'll be honest with you. Impressive. Hey, we gotta talk about it right quick.
It's not many times you can say that the Rockets added a player that's better than James Harden. But from a pure basketball standpoint, Chris Paul is a far superior basketball player than James Harden. James Harden is still the MVP, but he
completely
is the best offensive weapon. He's the best offensive weapon. But from defense, hustling back, setting up the team, barking at everybody, Chris Paul is the ultimate basketball player on that team.
I can agree.
The only thing that separates Chris Paul from James Harden as far as who's better, the only thing that divides them up is the one thing that he's exposing in his teammate that people haven't really acknowledged, and that's the fact that for all of James Harden's greatness, and I am a huge James Harden fan, his one lacking area technically isn't his defense because he has the talent for it. He has the physical gifts to be able to defend. He just does not have an elite basketball IQ. And that's the difference between Chris Paul and James Harden.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Paul is one of the smartest basketball players ever. And that's what makes him so effective in what he does. He's not a better player than Harden. He's just smarter.
Okay. And
go ahead. Greg.
Oh, I didn't mean to talk on you. The only reason why I like what Marcus said about that, it shows on the court. It shows that Chris Paul's been playing this game for a long time. Yeah. The thing that I love about it is I'm sure James Harden and Chris Paul had these conversations, and this is what me and DeMarcus alluded to when we heard the rumors and we talked about this. Chris Paul's IQ and maturity will rub off on James Harden, and when he gets to that level, to know where everybody is at all times and not to make the mistakes that he does, that's when he's gonna accelerate, and that's the scary James Harden that I'm seeing that he's going to get to, and I'm loving it. And the thing I want to talk to right quick, I'm sorry to talk so long because I've been so excited to talk.
You good? It's Rockets Power Hour.
There's three games I want to point out. There's 3 games, and that's the last 3 games that we had. So against the Spurs, the thing was, yes, y'all had Kawhi. I mean, y'all didn't have really Kawhi playing the best, and I know that he's just getting back into the swing of things, but Pop always has it out for the Rockets. No matter if y'all shorthanded or y'all have everybody full weapons, full company of weapons. But the way the Rockets came out that game and set the tempo and kept it going for a whole 48 minutes is the most impressive thing that I have seen from the Rockets this season. For the standpoint is that Pop always has our number dialed in, no matter whenever we play him, no matter when we play him, no matter what year. You can look back at it. Whenever we play with Spurs, that's when Pop shows his greatness. And the fact that the Rockets were able to have a convincing win like they did against the Spurs is impressive to me. And another win that the Rockets did was against the Bucks, another team that is semi like the Rockets in the style of play or something like that. But the way that they were able to handle the quickness of another team and to stay pat and stay in the game, even when down, and to inch it out in the closing minutes, I think that's impressive for the Rockets because that's something that they used to struggle with in closing out games. And speaking of closing out games, the way the fucking Rockets handled up on the Jazz last night, I doubted the Rockets. They were down by 8 points, and I said, you know what, this may be the loss that we need to show that, we need to keep it level head, don't play sloppy basketball like we did for 3 quarters. And that explosion happened, and I was throwing the Christmas tree out the window. I was slapping stuff. Who turned up? I'm telling you, man, just to go on that run, just to be down by 8 points and to win the game by 21, that is impressive. And all set the tempo by who? Chris Paul.
Chris Paul was setting that boy Eric Gordon up so tough. I'm like,
ooh, they was feeding Eric Gordon. Eric was on fire. Flash Gordon.
Man, hold up. 78-4 on this thing.
Hey,
Coming
man.
down on these boys.
Hey, but to be serious, to take the fandom out of it, I'm just impressed with, same with, like I told y'all before the show, with the Spurs, with the Pistons back in the day around the 2000 area, looking at Cleveland, or looking at the Warriors. They have that camaraderie. They have that instinct, and they always seem to be passing the ball more often than shooting or taking bad shots. And the thing about the Rockets is, and why I'm so high about the Rockets this year, all of a sudden, even though this is, not even into the All-Star break, just seeing the inner workings of this team is playing the best I've ever seen the Rockets ever play, because everybody's doing their job. Nobody's trying to outplay one another. They're all playing within the system, and on top of that, they're playing the whole. They made lack in 3 quarters like they did, but they know they need to close it out. They know that they need to keep a lead and not try to let it dwindle in, not letting teams back in. A lot of mistakes that the Rockets had prior seasons, they're correcting this season. I'm loving what I'm seeing. The only thing they have to work on is turnovers. They get that corrected. One of the hottest teams in the NBA, if not the hottest.
I mean, team chemistry is very huge, and you're seeing that right now. I mean, past Rockets teams would go play basketball and everybody go home. James Harden going to the club, Dwight Howard doing whatever Dwight Howard doing, Chandler Parsons out there trying to model. Now you bring the element of a family man who wants to get together, and you even seen Chris Paul complaining about the Clippers team, like, do we got to go to this? Like, what? Y'all don't want to hang out. Y'all don't want to
exactly.
So when you bring all those elements in, you bring in these veterans like PJ Tucker, Luke Bamute, you got Ariza, who's been very consistent, and he's already kind of a team-friendly guy. Everything's just mixing well at the right time. So 78-4 coming.
We're coming. Let's go, Rockets. Let's go.
Man, do y'all see any concern with Joel Embiid? He just missed his second.
Wait. You're not about to just keep this all sugar and Skittles and rainbows. No.
He's just made his landing, people.
Allow a little bit of one step for man, one giant leap for the hatred. Uncle Buzz is in this bitch.
Break in there, boy.
I only got 2 things in all seriousness when it comes to the Rockets that people may not pay attention to. Number one, tremendous success. There's nothing that you can really say against that. I mean, they're getting the wins, period. I don't give a damn what excuses people use. Wins are wins. And they're doing their job. They're winning the games that they're supposed to win, and they're doing it in impressive fashion. So props to them for that. 2 things that I still hold to the chest is, A, if you pay attention to the Rockets this season, D'Antoni has pretty much been playing playoff rotations the entire season. That will come back to potentially bite him for 2 reasons. One, because it kind of shows their hand and they have no surprise to drop out. That's one of the things that make the Steve Kerrs and the Greg Popoviches and the Brad Stevens a little bit difficult to handle in the playoffs, because they don't show you everything in the regular season. They don't show you their playoff rotations in December. The Rockets are pretty much doing that, and that's going to be a concern for them when it comes to playing against the contenders down the line. They play a lot of games where they only play 8. That's usually what you save for the playoffs. Let your other guys get used to being in those situations. So if you're like a Golden State currently or a San Antonio in last year's playoffs, and you have one of your key pieces get hurt, you don't have to wonder or be shell-shocked about the next man up theory, because you already have guys that are exposed and they have experience with that. The only other thing that I have for the Rockets at this point is always be aware of the fact that you still have 2 bona fide superstars who still have to prove themselves postseason. Neither one of those guys have a winning record in the playoffs, and neither one of them have a great track record or coming up clutch in the postseason. And I mean, calling a spade, you go through when Chris Paul finally had his quote unquote breakthrough in the playoffs and they beat the Spurs with a fantastic shot that he made in the clutch over Tim Duncan and all that good stuff. Well, I believe he choked off a 3-1 lead the next round to James Harden, right?
He did.
Did he choke that off?
Not him in particular.
It was not him. And I would.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're gonna follow the regular sports rules, and the leader of the Los Angeles Clippers was.
You know what? Okay. This is the thing.
I mean, it is what it is. That's the leader. That's the point, right? It all goes on their head. The same way it all went on James Harden's head last year in the playoffs, right?
They didn't play the first 2 games either, so they won.
Guess what? This is the thing that I'm always going to say about Chris Paul. I have never seen a guy get the worst breaks when it comes in the playoffs, whether it's injuries to him, injuries to important teammates to help elevate his team, or the inconsistency that his team brings, even though he's playing elite. I don't care what nobody says.
I just see his guard play, but man, he's never had like a true 1-2 punch. I mean, he had what in New Orleans? He had what Mo Peterson, players like
he had a whole bunch of nothing. I'm sorry, and
he had a lead over the San Antonio Spurs in the playoffs. I believe it was 3-1 or 3-2 that they messed up in that one. Go ahead, keep going.
First of all, let me tell you like this: it's the Spurs. You can't minimize.
That's not a valid excuse. That's not a valid excuse. You got somebody up like that. If you're telling me that Chris Paul is everything that he is, you can't give me an excuse like, oh well,
I'm gonna give you the excuse right here. So when Chris Paul is trying to set up. When he's trying to set up Blake Griffin for jump shots that he's airballing, or he's trying to set up whoever else is on their squad, remember their names. That's what I'm saying. He's had so much inconsistency. JJ Redick is the best first quarter player I've ever seen, and then he disappears. I'm telling you, the inconsistency of the players that he has around, and you're finally seeing Chris Paul, and this thing that me and DeMarcus talked about before we got Chris Paul off the air, that he finally has a team in place that he has weapons around that he's not used to having, because the weapons that he had in the Clippers were subpar.
Like, come on, Jamal Crawford.
Jamal Crawford's coming off the bench and he's doing whatever he wants to do. He's not looking for Chris Paul to set him up.
Yeah, he's not looking for nobody. Jamal
he's
Crawford.
Blake Griffin falls out of system. DeAndre Jordan, free throws kill him. He can't even put up rebounds back. It's pitiful. Like Chris Paul would drop dimes to DeAndre Jordan. What he does,
they got Paul Pierce 3 years too late.
Oh, that's another problem. And I'm not trying to make excuses. You have to give Chris Paul some of the blame and say, hey, Chris Paul, guess what? You got to come up stronger. But when they needed more assists, he got it. When they needed more scoring, they got it. He did anything. He's done everything that he has. And if you watch enough of those games, I have to give him that credit. And I'm not even a Chris Paul fan like that. I can't knock the dude. I just never.
It's odd because you sound like a Chris Paul fan like that.
Oh no, because he cried, man. I hated Chris Paul, and he's done. And that's the thing about it. Another thing that we need to allude to: Chris Paul has done a great job of not being Chris Paul. Of a lot of bitching, a lot of pointing the fingers, a lot of bitching at the refs.
You ain't lost the game. Ain't nothing to bitch about yet.
Oh, that is true. You ain't lost the game. That is true. But even moments of struggle, it's just like, that is true. We haven't really seen that. But even in the moments of us like being down and stuff like that, he's not acting outside of himself like he's done with the Clippers, because he really didn't do that with the New Orleans. But with the Clippers, it's kind of, you seem like the stories that we heard about the Clippers and the dysfunction and stuff behind the scenes, it showed on the court, and you get to see it playing now. Like, you see how Chris Paul plays, kind of looking back like, oh, the Clippers really was dysfunctional. Then we're looking at the Clippers now like,
Rivers got $25 million for what?
That's what I'm saying. You see a lot of the problems that people kind of alluded to. So, I'm not I really didn't like Chris Paul. He was like right under LeBron, honestly. It's like, I'm not even much gonna lie to you. So there is hope for LeBron if he comes to the Rockets, that I may like him.
You ain't got no choice, bro.
No. I respect their games. I just don't like certain things they do. Honestly, I'm sorry, y'all. It's like LeBron is raw, man. LeBron just rubs me a certain type of way, man.
I get you 100% about the wine. I hate whiners in sports. Like,
and Chris Paul used to do that, man. He was notorious for that.
All great players do that. James Harden does that. Tim Duncan did it. Kawhi Leonard does it.
Tim Duncan
with his quiet ass.
Hey, Tim Duncan.
Oh, you're out of your mind. You obviously did not watch San Antonio Spurs basketball. That man would get in a referee's face in a heartbeat. Don't lie to yourself. Man, nice guy. I love him to death. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Tim Duncan will get in the referee's face and cry and complain about every little thing at the drop of a hat. It's just what great players do. Jordan did it. Kobe did it. AI did it. There's not a great player you can name in the NBA that did not cry and whine to the refs when they felt like they needed to get that swing.
You got to manipulate the refs. That's the only way.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Hey, it's certain people that just rub me wrong. I can't. Maybe I just looked up. Maybe I turned a blind eye when Tim Duncan was trying to be. I'm like, Tim Duncan was saying that dude. Hey, man, huh?
That's all it
is. Hey, no, it ain't no interference because I appreciate James Harden. I mean, not James Harden, LeBron James and the greatness that he is. I would never deny that. Anybody who asks me, is he one of the greatest players? Yes, he is. He's up there in like number 3 to me. And honestly, just when his career is said and done. But it's certain stuff I don't like about LeBron. Being PC, LeBron just being goody two shoes. This is stuff I don't like about LeBron. It's all good.
What you mean by goody two shoes?
Oh, LeBron is the most goody two shoes. Like, he has the most PC answers after blah 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 blah.
I can't really listen to Michael Jordan.
No, I didn't live with Mike. I mean, I didn't live during.
Have you ever listened to Magic Johnson?
I can't. Once again, I didn't live during that time, so I can't complain about that.
But my thing is this: you're mad about LeBron for doing what's actually typical.
I'm not mad, but the thing about it, I'm not mad at LeBron. It's just I'm pretty sure if I was riding a wave during the Jordan era, I would have been hating on Jordan. Like, damn, Jordan's always trying to act like he's goody two shoes. This is the only person that I've been subjected to that I just really don't care for. I mean, just certain things that he does.
Being politically correct and being goody two shoes is kind of two different things, because for a lot of things that LeBron is actually quietly outspoken on, especially dealing with matters when it pertains to social injustice and his people and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm like, what do you mean by goody two shoes?
I'm talking about when he did. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Where the day that I hated LeBron and when I started hating LeBron, when he went to the Heat and when he talked shit about Dirk and the flu, he ain't shit. I hated LeBron from that day forward. I don't care. That is what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna let everybody know.
That's why like one of the greatest white men in America.
Exactly. You disrespectful ass bastard.
Oh my god.
So we finally cracked it.
I wanted to fly and whoop his. How dare you disrespect Dirk and try to say that he's lying about a flu?
The greatest white man in America. You can't.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a breakthrough. I just wanted to make sure we got that out there. Okay, now that we know the real. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. This is Dirk related. This is Dirk related.
That German man over there with that black woman. That's interracial.
Those 4 plates.
Oh my god. Oh my god. DeMarcus. Fast forward to the next subject. Fast forward to the next subject. This has gotten out of hand. All
right, so on the series, as great as Joel Embiid is, the Sixers are on a little bit of a snob.
Rock chalk, Jayhawk.
Hey,
my bad. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Do your thing. One of the greatest Jayhawks, in my opinion, also. But Sixers are 3-7 last 10 games. You know, it was a lot of buzz about the Sixers. Now they completely out of the playoff race right now. Although it is early, they can easily climb back up in there.
Yeah.
Is they concerned about the injury history of Joel Embiid? He played 46 minutes?
And he actually played. Nope. He actually played. No, he actually played like what they end up saying, like 49 to 50 or something like that.
In that overtime game.
Double overtime game, which was
it was triple, huh?
Triple overtime.
Talking about the Thunder game, that was a triple overtime game.
Triple overtime.
He was limping like in the fourth quarter, and just
he was tired. But he came up clutch with the blocks, man. I mean, he did great.
Well, I mean, he's always going to have heart. He's always going to put, give it 110%. But I think from an organizational standpoint and from a coaching standpoint, you have to be very cognizant of that. You have to be careful because you're literally taking your franchise into your own hands if you go through and you overwork this kid. I mean, a triple overtime game against the Thunder that you end up losing. Okay, let's say you won that, but you lose the war because now Joel Embiid got to sit out the next 15 games. Then what? You got to weigh those options out.
They said that too on the broadcast during that game when he was playing, and they were trying to weigh out the factors. Should they sit him down because of overtime and stuff like that? It was just Westbrook. Westbrook plays like he's on cocaine at all times. So when it came down to the third quarter, it was just like he was the only one that had all the energy. Everybody else was kind of just, slow dragging their foot. But, like you said, Marcus, that's going to hurt them in the long term with just him, his exertion, how much force of his, just all that up and down that he does on his knees and his ankles and things of that nature. He's really, if he was healthy, should
they keep him on a minutes restriction, or should they just allow him to play that many minutes like they just did?
They should get him on a minute restriction. But the thing I wanted to say about Joel Embiid, if he was healthy, or just say I'm not going to wish anything
with those feet. Oh.
I'm just saying, but the thing about I love something about watching that game. If you watch this man play, I've never seen a big man play like that. To that extent since I guess Shaq. I guess the turnaround fader, the quickness to go from one end to the floor to the other. The not to quit on a shot or not to quit on a rebound, not to quit on a block or something like that. It's impressive to watch a big dude move like that. So. The last big dude I seen that jumpers.
Never seen anybody do like that.
I'm talking about. I mean, I can go back to people like my boy Yao was putting down the faders like it was nothing back in the day.
I was about to say, aren't you a Rockets fan? You talking about you never seen a big man move like that? You can go back.
I was gonna say not
yourself. Yeah, that's so disrespectful.
I'm talking about of this day and age. Like
when you talk about Andrew Bynum was the best center in the league for like 2 years, and this was like 4 years after Kobe called him trash. Like that kind of lineage. Like it wasn't a lot of dominant big men in this league for the last 15 years.
And I didn't even know Boogie had a jumper until the season. Like I'm just like, damn, Boogie, when you get this jumper? I know he kind of would throw shit up there.
He's out there with those keys.
He's been killing. Hey, he been killing it, man. He been killing. But Joel Embiid, they need to put him on a minute restriction just to keep him healthy and preserve him for what they're trying to do. But that's going to be an issue going forward.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say a full-on minute restriction. I think that they should strategize better as far as how they work their rotations and stuff. For my money, I think that it would be ultimately effective if they went through and you can mix it and match it depending on the flow of the game and stuff like that. But Embiid maximizes effectiveness. Put him out there for 9 minutes a quarter every night.
Okay.
And that way it's not a full-on, oh, well, you played this many minutes, so now you're about to sit down. It's, okay, well, we're going to run him to start the game for the first 3.5 minutes. We're going to call a TO, do our rotation switch, let him sit down for a couple of minutes, bring him back into the game for another 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes, depending on how the flow of the game goes. But you try to go through and micromanage it to the point where let's give him 9 minutes a quarter. That way he's not sitting out for a ridiculous amount a la Kawhi Leonard right now, who's trying to get back in the swing of things, and he still has a chance to positively impact the outcome of the game. 36 minutes is pretty much the benchmark when it comes to actual impact on an NBA game, in my opinion. It's the way that they go through and they measure out analytics now. You go through and you average out to 36 minutes, and then you average out to 48 minutes. 36 minutes on the court is more than enough time for you to go through and sway whether a team can win or lose a game. I mean, hell, I don't think that Paul or Harden average 36 minutes a game at this point, and look at what they're doing. So I'm actually being kind of generous with it, but just to be creative and still maximize his effectiveness, because he still has to learn, he still has to improve, and he still has to condition himself for the long haul of the NBA season and playoff run, because he's never had a full NBA season yet.
That's true. That's true also. And another person that hasn't had a full NBA season, Jabari Parker, is scheduled to come back in February.
Who?
Oh, that's where you at with Jabari right now?
Yeah, he in that who area.
Until they switch that man's uniform and give him his freedom, yes.
Yeah, because I don't know what's going on right there. I don't know how he's going to fit.
Like him at the floor. I thought he was pretty good.
No, my thing is this. I think that he pissed somebody off in that organization, and they just kind of holding him hostage. Let that man be free and move on with your vision of what it is that you need to do. Because at this point, he's really not going to factor in. I'm really having a hard time with seeing how he's going to be mentally as far as getting back out there. And okay, let's say he comes out, he's rusty, and he doesn't have a good couple of games. Then they sit him back on the bench where he's dwelled for what, 10 years now? Go through, get some value for this dude, get a draft pick or another player or something like that to kind of work into your system. Let that guy go and have a chance to actually have a career. He's a talented kid. He just hasn't had a chance to show it yet. Right now, he's looking a little bit like Marcus Fizer that came out of Iowa State to the Bulls back in the day.
But that's the thing about Jabari Parker is he can be good if he got the minutes and he's actually healthy.
I like the game.
But think about that. Where is he going to fit in the system? Greek Freak kind of plays the 4 now, so it's like, okay, where do you put Greek in? Maybe the 3. Well, if you throw him in the 3, then where do you put Chris Middleton? You can't leave him out the rotation because you can't put him on the bench.
To leave him out.
Exactly. And then you got Brogdon and Middleton. If you bring both of them out the bench, they kind of play the same position. They kind of intertwine. So it's
you bring because Middleton played shooting guard for a couple years before they.
That's what I'm saying. But shooting guard and Brogdon, boy, you're gonna let Brogdon run the point, and then you're gonna let Snell's gonna fall out of rotation. That's what I'm saying. You kind of just don't need Jabari.
You can start Bledsoe, bring Brogdon off, but like you said, it'll probably be better to leave it as is because Parker can get hurt at any moment and fuck up the rotation.
They need to just look to see what they can get for him right now, honestly, or put him out there and let him have a few good games.
Right while the iron is hot.
Because right now the Bucks need, I don't know what they need, but they need something because they're slipping. They floating at that 500 space, and everybody was hyping them up like, "Oh, it's the birth of the Bucks," and they're not looking at
the Bucks need a gunner off the bench. They need more. They need more offensive potency off the bench. Their starting five is okay, but their starting five can't carry them for 48 minutes.
Okay, well, if I was, guess what? I'm gonna tell you like this: if I'm the Bucks, I'm calling up the Wolves and saying, "Hey, would you want to give us Jamal Crawford and something else, and we'll give you Jabari Parker because Jabari was look nice in their system. He would fit very nicely in them with them coming off the bench. He would be a true six man coming in and filling in for he can come in.
Jamal and Gibson.
There you go. I wouldn't give a Gibson. Gibson is he's been the solid, consistent factor in their team. It's sad to say because Cat kind of been hit and miss this year. Butler's been hit and miss. Jeff T, man, Gibson, he'll give you a double-digit rebound, double-digit scoring.
Yeah, and you really can't depend on Parker, so I got you. I'm with you 100%.
It's a few teams that need him. Like Orlando would do good with him. The Pacers he will be good with. The Clippers definitely could. Oh man, the Nets actually have a good team. I don't care what people say. The Nets play.
Oh yeah, they're underrated. They play hard.
I'm trying to tell people this season is different to me. Every team is playing hard. Even the trash teams that we want to laugh and scoff at. The Kings, they're in game. The Lakers
always coming down to the stretch. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. A lot of teams are just really playing good to me. Jabari Parker, think about this. The Clippers really need to talk to him because he will be a great asset for that team. And he has the type of star power that could really complement with him and Blake Griffin if they plan on keeping him.
For my money, I say don't fall short and don't sleep on the fact that I think that he would be a wonderful fit with Rick Carlisle in Dallas.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
They need four because they're about to have one exit in a couple of years. I think that he would really fit into what Rick Carlisle likes to do on both ends of the court. I think that he's still coachable, and Rick Carlisle is a top 5 coach to me. As far as being able to deal with the roster that you have, he's a motivator. He has Dallas playing above their means, in my opinion. They're a hard win. And that says a lot, especially when you look at what they have on that roster. They're a hard win. Those kids come out there and they fight hard and stuff like that. You ask somebody that's got something to prove, like a Parker out there, that you can make something happen.
That's the real reason why we won in 2011, why the Pistons won in 2004.
Hey,
man,
drop those facts, bro. And man, I just found it funny that Yu Darvish, the World Series MVP, is trying to come back home and get.
Man, your slander is so disrespectful right now. Why don't you just go ahead and hit him with the slur like your boy on the team did? I mean, that would be more respectful at this point.
Saying, man, he
now he the World Series MVP.
He gifted 2 games. I mean, what else can you say?
I can't stand you. I can't stand you.
I just find this shit hilarious, man. I just wanted to put that note out there.
I can't stand you.
If he do sign, he got to get a ring too. He deserves it. He sold out for that one. And
then,
my man, K-Dot gonna be performing at the college football halftime show. Y'all into that, or it really don't matter?
I was already into it because it's the college, championship game. Because my boy, Oregon, not Oregon, my boy.
You trying to figure out which team you rooting for this time, or what?
That was a good one. I don't know why I had Oregon in my mind because I'm up here looking at Mariota. I'm looking at the waiver wire, so it threw me off. My bad. But now the Clemson boys, so it should be good. Personally, it is what it is. I don't think Kendrick Lamar is the greatest performer, but it'll be entertaining, I guess.
What y'all got for the playoffs? Y'all think Alabama gonna get an upset? Think Clemson gonna take it all?
Clemson gonna take it off.
Clemson and Georgia.
You're right. I agree.
Okay, there we go.
And I'm actually going with Georgia.
Them dogs, huh?
I think that Georgia is going to surprise folks this year. I think that they are going to have that Tennessee post Peyton Manning type feel now that they're away from Mark Richt, who was like the best 12-1, 10-2 Georgia coach of all time, but he couldn't win the big game. They have an interesting mix of talent on that team, but they got that right amount of hunger I think they're going to surprise people because I think that there's a lot of folks that really aren't taking them too seriously when it comes to this playoff.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. College football playoff is going to be excellent, bro. Oh,
Should be.
Better than these other 85 Planters Peanut hefty trash bag bowls they got going on right now. They got to do something about that, man. I understand they want to get marketing up. They want to get the exposure and the saturation and stuff like that, man. But 66 bowl games, come on, man. That's way too much.
The paper make pen bowl. Come on, man. Nobody.
I mean, nowadays we exist in a day and age where is applauded. You can go 6-6 in college football and you still go to a bowl game.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know this personally. Shouts out to those Seminoles playing in Shreveport in the God knows what bowl on December 27th.
God knows what bowl. That's a new bowl. I ain't never heard of that one.
Yeah. They just threw that out there.
Well, man, y'all seen they got selection for the Pro Bowl out there. I think the most surprising thing, they put both of those running backs from the Saints in that Pro Bowl.
Oh man, I didn't even get to see.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Is Michael Thomas in the Pro Bowl?
Michael Thomas is in the Pro Bowl.
How? Yeah, what a call. What a fantasy call.
Michael Thomas is in the Pro Bowl along with Larry Fitzgerald, Julio Jones, and Adam Thielen at receiver.
Shouts out to Adam Thielen.
Adam deserved it with the season that he has. I know he could have worked on them touchdowns, but the yardage is there. He's
in there like Julio. I mean,
yeah. Julio got what, 2 touchdowns on the year?
I want to say Julio has 3 and Thielen has 4. Something like that.
That's depressing. That is horrible. Matt Ryan, how dare you? It's a shame.
And they're both top 5 in receiving yards. I mean, that's the most frustrating thing from a personal, if you're a fan of the team standpoint, and especially if you're a fantasy football person, that's the most frustrating thing ever. Because there's a ton of folks that probably took Julio Jones in the top 10 this year in fantasy football. And
speaking of fantasy
you have very little to show of it.
My man Griff is trying to bring home the title this week.
It's gonna be.
Go get him, son.
Go ahead and come. I don't want to hear it,
boy.
I don't want to hear it.
Hey,
you better bring it home.
Hyde is going against Jacksonville, and then I just lost Antonio Brown. Oh God, I'm just Jesus.
I don't want to hear it. You got to bring it home.
The offense.
I don't want to hear. You got to bring it home.
Who's in the Pro Bowl? I also like that Michael Thomas is getting recognition because I think that people they like to focus on DeAndre Hopkins and Julio, Odell, AJ Green. Michael Thomas is a damn good wide receiver that needs to get more love, in my opinion.
He just joined Odell Beckham as the only players to catch 90+ in their first 2 seasons in the league.
See, I like the see. Look at that knowledge you dropping on them boys.
I mean, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I mean, you always want to appreciate the guys that are out there doing it. And I mean, I think part of the reason why Michael Thomas isn't getting the love or the recognition is because Kamara and Ingram have done so much to revolutionize that offense, and they've gotten so much of the attention and stuff like that. He's kind of flown under the radar. But I low-key think that actually works in his favor because people are so concerned with Ingram and Kamara. It actually opens it up a little bit more for him, where under normal circumstances, your usual game plan against New Orleans is guard everything in the back. Don't let Drew Brees spray 55 passes on you for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now they have to actually respect the run. They actually have to put people in the box, which creates more one-on-ones. And Mike is good enough from a skill set standpoint to be able to win most of those one-on-one matchups.
Is there any outrage for you guys, the fact that Drew Brees made the Pro Bowl over, say, a Cam Newton or a Case Keenum? Does Drew Brees deserve to make the Pro Bowl over those?
Over who? Over who?
Cam Newton, Case Keenum.
Case Keenum, the only reason why I could think they probably put him in there because
Jared Goff, maybe?
Because Jared Goff's been inconsistent. Well, Drew Brees been inconsistent too. Cam, the only reason why I can't agree with that, well, if the Pro Bowl went into selection on week 14 and below, then Cam Newton deserved it because over these 5 game stretch, I think he's averaging, he has 21 touchdowns to only 1 interception, which is pretty impressive. And he's rushed maybe 400 yards over that span. So he should have been in consideration with Drew Brees. They're looking at
my thing is this, and I bring this up for 2 reasons. Okay, the 3 guys that got voted in: Carson Wentz, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. Okay, there's a strong chance that Cam makes it anyway because Wentz ain't gonna be on the Pro Bowl roster. They'll be looking for an alternate because he's hurt. Secondly, when you look at the trajectory of the seasons, when you look at Drew Brees and what they're doing as kind of a surprise team, because there weren't too many folks that really picked them to be this competitive this year, and then Russell Wilson getting his MVP performance on, because he's literally dragging Seattle to a winning record at this point, because he really doesn't have that much to work with. It's like a log jam, especially in the NFC when it comes to quarterbacks. I feel the argument for Cam. But I think the first half of his season kind of took away too much momentum for people to actually really put him in that conversation like that. Because honestly, if we're calling spade a spade, at this point, Cam should be in the MVP conversation.
Now he should. And the thing I said, I think Lane brought that up, and I said the reason.
Who?
Lane, yeah.
Oh,
Lane.
Shouts out to Lane.
Lane brought that up about why Cam should be in the MVP conversation. If the Panthers win the next 2 games and Cam continues to do what he's been doing, which is throwing touchdowns, protecting the ball, leading his teams to victories, and still running the ball, he should literally be the front runner to win it once again, because his numbers are more impressive over the last. You could say if he finishes strong, that'd be the last 8 games is way better than Brady's. For a standpoint of this man is almost about to rush for 1,000 yards on the season, 6 rush touchdowns, and he's only thrown like 22 touchdowns and like the 12 interceptions, and Brady has, I want to say, like 11 or something up there.
What's their standing in the division? Are they leading the division? Are they second?
If you're second to the Saints, but the thing is, Cam plays.
He plays Tampa and Atlanta the next 2 games.
Atlanta plays the Saints.
They swept the Saints. I think Carolina swept the Saints.
Yeah, they did. They did. They beat the Saints, and then it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be interesting. But like you said, Drew Brees' numbers are better than Case Keenum. He has like 600 more passing yards, and he has 6 more touchdowns. So that's the only deciding factor, really.
And then your boy Phillip Rivers got up in there. Well deserved. I mean, I can't think of another quarterback that.
Oh yeah, he was horrible.
Maybe Josh McCown, but McCown's hurt now.
Man, he was horrible on Saturday. My God, he was horrible.
Ain't nobody worried about old man Phillip.
Hey, you watch your mouth, man. You watch your mouth.
I said it. That lightning bolt is faded, son. The wattage is down.
Okay, man. He about to come to you. Oh yeah, we may not make it. We may not, because Hunter Henry is a huge loss.
Man.
Yeah, that is a big loss.
That's huge.
Antonio Gates still got a little juice left. Hopefully,
a little. He better go. He better go take it before the game.
Yeah, a tiny bit.
He ain't got nothing to lose. He might as well do it.
He might as well. What you gonna do? Suspend me? The season is already over.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm retiring. I'm retiring the off season. You can't.
I know my rights. Y'all can't test me after week 15.
Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of test, man, they shut your boy Rodgers down. You think it was a good move? You don't think they should have went out there and at least tried to beat the Vikings, play spoiler, or just protect him for the season?
That O-line exposed.
It looked like he took a lot of hits from the highlights that I've seen.
That O-line looks bad.
It looks like nothing different from what I've seen from Aaron Rodgers in his O-line the last 3-4 years. So that part don't really bother me that much. I mean, he started off the year going 4-1, and he didn't even have any offensive tackles. So that's not a valid excuse.
No, I was saying that they probably was doing that or shut him down because
no. I know
against Vikings.
I know what you meant. PC thing that they're going to put out there. Oh, we're trying to function in his best interest and shut him down, stuff like that. Notice nobody has put a microphone in Aaron Rodgers' face right now because they don't want that realism to come out because he's pissed. He didn't fight to come all the way back just to play a game, and now because they're quote unquote not eligible for the playoffs, they want to sit him back down again. That's not to Aaron Rodgers' nature. That's not to what he wants to do. And I guarantee you that Diva wanted to come back and throw for 400 against Minnesota, especially off of the so-so game that he just had against Carolina. So there's that part. The things that they have to worry about is, yeah, you're going to do what it takes to quote unquote protect the franchise, blah, 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 yakety, yakety. You need to pay attention to that man's reaction and how he actually feels about it, because this is somebody that you're trying to re-sign. There's nothing that says that Aaron Rodgers has to come back to the Green Bay Packers. And at this point, there might not be a whole lot of reasons to say that he wants to come back to the Green Bay Packers, because I'm pretty sure that there are at least 20 teams that will gladly take him on at any price. So that's something that Green Bay has to worry about. But, I mean, I get it, but then I don't get it. But me, low-key, I want them to flame out since they want to call it quits like that, lose these last 2 games, and then fire the coaching staff and the general manager. Because I can't stand any of them.
Can I play devil's advocate on why they
go for it?
Why they may bench Aaron Rodgers? once again, that added factor of, I just lost against the Panthers, and Geronimo Allison needs to be dropped off a cliff for dropping that ball.
That was just a good defensive play.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
It was a good defensive play.
I don't think that was a catch. I think that should be ruled not a catch because he didn't have full football.
We're not gonna get into that, Griff. Let's not.
I'm sorry. I was really mad at that game because I was rooting for y'all boys, but
it was a good fight.
The only reason why I say devil's advocate because Davante Adams is the key. Davante Adams may not play this game because since that he's the second concussion, and you know that if they sit him out, guess who's going to be on Jordy? And who has been struggling the most? Jordy. Jordy's going to be on Xavier Rhodes, or they may just say, you know what, Jordy's been so bad, let's put on somebody else on Jordy. Let's put it Xavier.
And don't get me wrong, it's not a thing of Jordy being bad. It's just a thing that Brett Hundley just doesn't look to that side of the field.
That's true, but I really think they should take a look at Jordy. I don't know because he's been so bad. I forgot how he looked in the beginning of the season.
Ghost mode after Devontae.
They're gonna have to look. They're gonna have to look at him because he is 32, going on 33, and
it's nothing to look at. Jordy already told them that this contract is his last. He already said he's going to retire at the end of this contract.
Oh, I can believe that because
he said that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's getting a lot of separations, but that's gonna be. I'm gonna give a hand clap for Davante Adams for showing everybody that you're the true number one. Like we gave you a shout out at the beginning of the season. That's the true number one over there.
Exactly, but here's the problem with that is now, not through any fault of his own, he's officially going to have problems in this offseason, and I know they're going to bring it up because now when it comes to this contract negotiation, the first thing they're going to bring up is, well, you're kind of a health risk because you had these 2 concussions this season, blah, blah, blah.
If they do that, it's right.
I mean, it's the nature of the beast. That's what every team is going to do when it comes to Davante Adams now. And it's not any fault of his own because he literally got cheap shotted into 2 concussions. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to affect his market. It's going to affect his market and his price point.
You got to feel bad for Davante Adams because now that you say that, both of his concussions were
they were both cheap shots. They were both weak, cheap shots.
Oh man, they trying to get the dread head out of here, man.
And I love Davante Adams, man. It was a kid that a lot of people when he first got drafted in Packerland was not sold on. Who is this kid? We don't know him, this, that, and the other. And he came out, he showed improved. Early in his season in his career has already been a designated cowboy killer, which thrills me to no end. But the concussion problem is going to be something moving forward that has to really be paid attention to. And I hate that for that kid because I think that he has a potential to really, really be special in that offense. He reminds me of a blend of Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings with the way that he plays in that system.
And then also, and I love how you brought this up, we're going to play agent for Davante Adams. Guess what? Would y'all have won any of those 3 games without Davante Adams and just Bradley Hunt?
I'm sorry. I think you missaid any games.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say that. And on top of that, on both of the concussions that Davante Adams got was not his fault. It was because of cheap shot. That means that man is very protective of himself and his head. And I'd like to say that we need to resign that dude and give him all the money he needs because he's going to be the future of this franchise.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that the only way they keep Davante Adams at this point is if they give him about 14 a year.
Oh, he's worth more than that.
Well,
to call him up.
He's worth more than that potentially, but I know how the price point goes when it comes to Ted Thompson and receivers. And if Jordy Nelson in his prime could only get 10 a year, they're not going to give him much more than 14.
Davante may be content in there. He may be content in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said about job security. And then I know he was paying attention to when Greg Jennings left the Packers and how it worked out for him, not having Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. That's also a huge factor too. I mean, it's one thing to be a great and skilled and talented and stuff like that, but your battery mate also factors in too. It's hard to turn down the opportunity to play and have Aaron Rodgers throwing you the ball.
Do you feel any different about Thomas Davis after that hit?
I
can't
say that I can't say that I feel
injuries, you know.
I can't say that I feel different about him per se. I will say that I was surprised by it. To a certain extent.
That's the last person to do something like that.
But we also got to forget that he got fined for something similar earlier this season, didn't he? Got like a $50,000 fine for a bad hit earlier this year.
Yeah.
So, you go through, there's kind of a precedent set and stuff like that. Do I think that he meant to be malicious in it? No, I think it was just heat of the moment. We got the turnover. Let's try to make something happen. Let me get this guy out of the way. And, just kind of got hyped at the opportunity, cleaned him up. So no, I don't feel differently about him, but I mean, it is what it is.
You know what? I want to question those people that talk about the whole thing about, I know, a quote unquote dirty play or malicious hit. You can tell that he wasn't trying to. You know, you can kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I feel like I watch enough football that I feel like you can kind of feel the malicious intent in some of these people, or some of those people that are like, oh, I wasn't trying to do that. I went back to my natural state of how we used to tackle and stuff like that or whatnot. But it's like, man, I can't give him a dirty card because he's been such a upstanding citizen. Wasn't he like a
Now,
Walter?
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he's been a Walter Payton Man of the Year and stuff like that, and that's why I said my opinion of him does not change. But in a vacuum, in that very moment, in that instance, oh, that was malicious as hell.
Oh yeah, that was hard. That was
and you're not going to go and literally lean into the man helmet first, into his helmet. There was malicious intent behind that. I don't think that he's a malicious person. I just think he might have got caught up in the moment and he made a mistake. I'm just gonna call it like that. It's just that one play. It is what it is. Terrible decision. Do what you got to do. It's fine. I don't think that he's a dirty player per se, but that was a dirty ass hit. I don't care what anybody says.
It's hard. It's hard to disagree, bro. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
I'm gonna hold it down in the championship for y'all boys.
Yes, sir. You better.
I told Wilson that 30-point lead wasn't safe.
Man, I went well. It was a crazy weekend, man.
0-12, bro.
It was a crazy weekend, man, and unfortunately, due to things that were going on, had a friend, a fraternity brother of mine, passed away. Local music legend, Robert Bassman Washington. Shouts out to him and prayers and condolences to his family and loved ones.
For 102?
Yeah. It just kind of threw me for a loop, and I really didn't have a chance to like look at my lineups. I wasn't really concerned about it at that point.
Yeah. No.
So ended up taking L's, literally in just about every league that I played in this weekend. But some things are more important than football, so it just is what it is. I'll get them next year.
I took my dubs.
I got you, man. Yeah, I ended up making it. My big league, the one is a $700 pot. Todd and LaShawn McCoy and Michael Thomas all decided to step up while AJ it up on the bench.
Oh, they gonna eat this week because guess what? Those are the same exact 3 players that I have in my money league. Let's go, son.
Yeah, so I need them to come through for me so I can get this pot in this transition.
I had Aaron Rodgers, but now I got Foles. I got Foles, Thielen, Michael Thomas, LaShawn McCoy, Gurley, Zach Ertz. We're gonna pick up the Carolina defense. Let's go. Let's run the tape. Oh, Kamara in my flex. Let's go.
There you go, man. Yeah, bring home the title, man. Don't let them take us out in both the leagues.
I'm projected to lose though.
Don't worry about
that.
But I ain't worried about projections because the markets were projected to whoop my ass, and guess what? Who won?
That meant nothing, bro. Those projections.
F them projections.
Let's eat. D.D. Westbrook.
Ooh, you
know what I'm saying?
Times is hard. I'm not starting good. I'm not starting good when against
brother said the struggle is real, homie.
I just lost Antonio Brown, so I'm just like I'm struggling. I'm picking from trash right now.
Yeah, it is.
But Blake is holding it down. No Marquise Lee. Hey, Didi, hold it down. You the number 1 right now.
Hopefully it ain't Keenan Cole.
Shouts out to the Houston Texans for making Blake Bortles look like Troy Aikman this past weekend.
Hey, I think we need to show some respect for Blake Bortles. I think he's been playing excellent football.
Yeah, I bet you do.
He was pretty solid. You can't be calling this man trash, bro. He's leading his team to a division.
Yeah, Jadeveon, I'm gonna need you to relax and ease up on that, homeboy. Even if you do really trash.
Osweiler last year. We make.
Yeah, I mean,
come on, bro.
Even if you do truly in your heart think that he's trash, he did not look like trash this Sunday.
No. Let me tell y'all something right now. I think we need to start showing some respect to Blake Bortles and honestly start having that conversation about can the Jacksonville Jaguars do something. They still have Tom Coughlin in there motivating them boys. They still have one of the hottest defense, if not the best defense going. And the defense does travel. And if Blake Bortles can play like how he's been playing with Marquise Lee, scheduled to come back in the playoffs, same with Allen Hurst.
They're the worst matchup in the AFC for everybody. Patriots, Steelers, everybody. Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs.
They're built off that running game alone.
Yeah, they're built for that.
They can hand it off to Leonard Fournette 30 times and he'll probably be fine.
And the beauty of it is the fact that they actually got a chance to give him an impromptu bye week so he could have fresher legs for the playoffs and sat him against the Texans.
And Chris Ivory is not looking bad. That's the other part.
No.
They really 3 deep at running back, and they could cause some issues in the playoffs.
Imagine how strong they're going to be next year when they get Kirk Cousins. This is insane.
Oh yeah, if they get Kirk Cousins, it's a wrap, man. I'm about to become a Jacksonville Jaguar. I'm a bandwagon on that one. I'm not much gonna lie to you. No, I'm not gonna bandwagon on that because I've been singing about Jacksonville since 2 years ago when Blake started balling.
Cannot upgrade to 3 teams. You already got.
Man, I gotta go up. I gotta go up.
Can't upgrade to 3. You know
I gotta go to 3, man. I gotta go 3. Allen Robinson was one of my favorite. I gotta go up. Let's go.
All street cred with your fandom.
He gonna have all the gear on.
I'm about to have a Jackson. What is that?
A Jaguars fanny pack with a Phillip Rivers jersey and an Eagles hat. And,
some Texan flip flops.
No, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Don't do it. Some Deshaun Watson's on. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I gotta have Watson on. I gotta represent Clemson.
Put those foes on. Man, anything else before we start wrapping things up?
No, man. Good luck to your fantasy championships. For those who made it, check out the programs. We always talk about Vikings. Also, what's that? The rap game. Check it out.
It is. Any words of wisdom today, Wilson?
For me, not so much. One of the things that I had gotten a little wind of in one of my sports groups on Facebook, they're really trying to get more active and participating in a lot of these service events, particularly like walkathons, whether it be for AIDS, autism awareness, the heart walk, so on and so forth. For a lot of folks that don't get out and really do too much in the way of service or in much way of exercise, kill 2 birds with one stone. Sign up for a walkathon. You don't have to, be the fastest or most in shape person to help out a good cause and promote awareness. And you can get out there and actually make a difference and, burn some calories at the same time. Learn and contribute, be more involved and stuff like that. We do a lot of things and we're a lot of dependent on technology and social media and stuff like that. But every once in a while, it's good to actually go out in the real world, get some fresh air and make a difference. So I encourage folks to look into those types of activities, whether it's, half marathon or a 5K if you're runners or athletically inclined like that. But if not, a simple walkathon, you'd be amazed at how much of a difference it makes when people contribute to stuff like that. And it's not one of those things that get a lot of attention, a lot of publicity if you're not paying attention. But there are tremendous opportunities throughout the year to participate in these kinds of events and be able to make a change, not only in your life personally, but in your community.
Hey, I think you know one of my friends. Her name's Ashley.
I know a lot of Ashleys.
I'm about to tell you, Ren Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met that's one of my good friends, Ashley.
Oh yeah.
Small world. This is a small world,
bro. It's a small world.
Oh, also, quick thing that just dropped. Joe Budden just left the cast of Every Struggle.
Bye, Joe. Take it easy.
You don't like Joe?
It's not that I don't like Joe, but it's not like earth shattering. It doesn't ruin my day. It doesn't make me stop watching. I mean, it's cool. I don't have anything against Joe. Don't get me wrong. I like a lot of the stuff that he does. I like a lot of his music and stuff like that. But I mean, sometimes a change is necessary. Sometimes it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like that show anymore. Honestly, I haven't liked that show in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really set the world on fire, so it's not like a big loss. You know what I'm saying? I feel you for mentioning it because it is relevant. It's a part of the culture, but it's not like that huge. It's not like you just said Charlemagne quit the Breakfast Club. I would have some shit to say about that. You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit more significant.
The only reason why I mention it is because Joe Budden, to everybody's surprise, Joe Budden's podcast is as big. I want to say a media outlet to like the Breakfast Club. It's like the Breakfast Club, Sway in the Morning, Joe Budden's podcast. It's up. And his podcast is about to be on point tomorrow.
Yeah, he has a huge following.
Man, I can't wait.
No doubt. Then quick shout out to David Quisenberry, who's going to be finally over with that battle with cancer. Is going to be making his NFL re-debut.
Oh, nice.
Outstanding. Congratulations to him and his family and all the people that showed him support, because cancer sucks at the end of the day, and it's good to see folks fight that battle and win.
Yes, sir.
And this will be the last podcast before Christmas, so everybody, y'all have a good time out there. Don't be driving drunk. Don't do nothing crazy. Don't end up in jail on Christmas.
And you better listen to that Temptation Silent Night. Better. If you are about this culture, if you are dedicated to this podcast, if you are all about the fish and grits for the culture, if I am not driving by your house and I don't hear in my mind, I don't acknowledge you anymore. I will not accept you into this family.
Y'all hear this
You are
Silent Night
dead.
over here? I'm trying to sing.
Break it down.
We got you, baby. We got you.
Hey, and happy birthday to Shantae. It's her birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yesterday.
Shantae.
Birthday to future Miss Griffin over there. Y'all need to go ahead and tie them knots.
Hey.
Hey.
Too much.
Too much.
Wait a minute. Rip said, wait, that wasn't a part of the podcast script. Wait, what?
Let's edit that part. And I'm
Xavier Rose.
pick that off.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, no doubt, man. As for now, this has been Fish and Grits, and you guys have just been served.
Y'all enjoy.
Peace.
Rockets in 15.